everybody, welcome to your virtual tour of the Cawthra Woods. So we are just across from the school. The school's just over there. In front of me is the community center. So to give you an idea of where we are, this is the entryway to Cawthra Bush or Cawthra Woods, depending how you're looking at it. This is a nice typical little woodlot. It is not old growth. A lot of these trees have been cut down and grown up over the years. And it's a really special thing to us because as Cawthra students and community, it's kind of up to us to be stewards of this area. It is a protected area. It's run by the city of Mississauga and the Peel region that look after this place. So I'm going to take you today, we're going to go down the trails, we're going to make a couple of stops along the way to show you some points of interest. May is an amazing time to go through here because the trilliums are up and there's a beautiful, beautiful spread of trilliums throughout the park. So if you live nearby, you really should come and check it out on your own. So I do want to point a few things out. So a few years ago, the city put up some really important signs about the Cawthra Wood, and also working with the Conservation Authority, the Credit Valley Conservation Authority. Now, essentially, we have new fencing over the last few years to show you that we have some really important things to protect in here. We have endangered species and things that really need some looking after. So as you can see, the map is here to outline that we are what we call an environmentally sensitive area with a few special designations according to the Ministry of Natural Resources. So we need to follow the rules. We're going to pick up after ourselves. We're not going to disturb stuff. And most of all, we're going to stay on the path as much as we can. So I'm going to get you to follow me. We're going to take a tour. So this first stop, what I want to point out here is a lot of this dead wood behind me. As I said, this is looked after by the municipality. So what they do is they go through and look after trees that might need to come down. And a number of years ago, you may have heard of the emerald ash borer beetle, which was really attacking the ash trees. And unfortunately, a lot of the Cawthra Wood has been ash trees. We lost a lot. You can see they've left a lot just for nature to look after it and for it to decay and become part of our ecosystem here. But unfortunately, a lot of trees had to come down because the emerald ash borer beetle actually goes underneath the bark and eats away and eventually kills the tree. It has wiped out trees all over Ontario, and Mississauga has been very hard hit. On the other side, we have a predominance of a lot of different types of trees, but the sugar maple is one of the main types of trees in this sort of southeastern part of this woodland. Really amazing thing. If we had time and the ability, we could probably have a whole sugar bush in here, but a lot of sugar maple, which is the maple tree that we use for our maple syrup operations. So what we're going to do now is we're going to continue down the trail. As you can see, there's a wonderful fence all the way along to keep us out of here. And I'm going to talk a little bit in a few minutes about what species we're actually trying to protect, because we do have an endangered species here, a species at risk. Okay, follow me. So at this stop, I want to point out the sign. Now, in this area, we have an endangered species, or a species at risk, called the Jefferson salamander. So as you can see, there are signs up around the park that say, help protect species at risk in Cawthra Woods. So the Jefferson salamander is a salamander that is similar to the redback, which are easy to find when you roll over a big log or take a look under rocks. It's very, very much a rarity in these areas. And in fact, in Ontario, there's only a few different areas, I believe 4 or 5 areas where you can actually find that. And here at Cawthra Woods is one of those places. So we're really lucky to have this very sensitive piece and very important piece of land where the Jefferson salamander still lives. Now we need to stay on the path because in all these areas, the Jefferson salamander and all salamanders like cool, wet, dark places. So they're underneath the dead leaves. This is called detritus, all the old dead stuff underneath. If you rolled away a log, you might be able to find one. So we'll go salamander hunting a little bit later, but we probably won't find the Jefferson because it's very, very hard to find, even here. Okay, let's go salamander hunting. Now, we're not going to hurt it, but we're going to take a look. Now, they like cold, dark places, as I said, because they're very, very sensitive skin, kind of like a frog, and they're actually related to a frog. They're an amphibian, they're not a reptile. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get us to zoom down here into this dead log. You notice it's all decaying. So under here is where we usually find them. So I'm going to carefully roll this back and see. Now we have a sow bug here. And there's another sow bug. I'm just going to lift up some leaves to see if we can see anything. Being careful. So no, we sometimes can find them under the leaves. Oh wait, over here. He's running away. Here's a guy. He's a big one. Oh, we're chasing him. There he goes, and he does not want to be found. I'm going to lift this. I don't want to touch him. But there he is. So he's trying to get away. But we're going to just take a look. We're not going to touch. We're not going to hurt him. There he is. Okay, zoom right in. You can take a look at that guy. So as you can see, he's called a redback salamander because he has a reddish back and a head. So his legs, you can't see too carefully, but he's got 4 legs and a tail. Kind of looks like a worm from your perspective, but if you look really closely, you can see his little legs and some eyes up here. But he is a lot more like a frog in his life cycle too. So again, likes wet place. I'm going to cover him up. We don't want to expose him for too long and let him back into his dark little place. I don't want to roll the log right on top of him, but I'll let him be shielded. There we go. So that's the redback salamander, not the Jefferson, which is the endangered one. I'm not going to take you, we'll be all day trying to find one of those. They're really, really hard to find. But we found a redback salamander, still an indicator of species. It tells us a lot about how ecosystems and how healthy they are. If you can find a lot of these, you're good. But again, the redback, common, Jefferson, not so common. Hello everybody, we are now in the northern part of Cawthra Woods. So we've come along the trail a little bit, and now behind me, actually way back over there is the QEW and the South Service Road. So behind me you can see so many trees that were cut down because of the ash borer beetle. Tons and tons of trees. It really was quite devastating that invasive species from Asia came and attacked that one type of tree, the ash tree. So we've lost the majority of our ash trees in this area. I'm going to get you to follow me down here to talk a little bit more about other invasives. So along we go. Over here in the trees, you're not going to quite see it until you get closer. But this area used to be the estate of the Cawthras, the Cawthra estate. They were from England, from Yorkshire, England. And they built their house. There's a house over there that is now Blythe Academy. We'll get a little closer to that after. But this used to be their land, and they donated it to the Mississauga city. But before that, Mrs. Cawthra, she was from England, and she missed her beautiful English gardens. So what she did is she built one. And the remains of that secret English garden that was a walled garden are over here. So if we come down here a little bit further, we'll take a closer look. So right in here you can see the remains of the wall. We'll come up a little bit closer so that you can see. And in that she had so many different types of plants from England. She brought them over because she missed them. Her rose bushes, her English ivy, those things that were like home. And that's how so many invasive species come over. People bring them, plant them because they love them, they're pretty, they're beautiful, they taste good. And then you leave your garden and things get away on you. So come on in, we'll take a look. So here is the remains. All that's left now is the wall that used to hold her garden. So they did wall it in an attempt to keep everything together, but a lot of other species really took over. So this is kind of the remnants of that. A little further on, I'll show you that English ivy that has just gone wild and invaded this whole area. Okay, so this behind me is the Cawthra estate. So this is where the Cawthras lived, and they had beautiful grounds. They had rose gardens that way. They even dug a swimming pool that way, which is still there. It's all fenced in. You can't go in it, but they actually had a swimming hole. Huge estate. Now most of it's all naturalized into forest. But if you come up closer, I'm going to show you some of the stuff that has totally naturalized and become part of it. If you come over here and come up nice and close, you'll see English ivy. Now you may actually have this plant in your house. If you zoom right down, you might recognize it. It's all underneath all these old leaves because it's spring. This is English ivy. And if you span up, look all through there, all that green is all English ivy in this whole area. Incredibly invasive. So that came over from England, and it loved Canada, and it just takes over. But originally the Cawthras just brought it over and put it in their gardens, and now it has completely taken over this area. We can't go into the house anymore, but we can follow me up around the bend. We'll take a look. And here's the Cawthra estate, now used by Blythe Academy as a private school. A beautiful little house. In front of it were the rose gardens, and behind it, as I said, was was their swimming pool and a huge open area. Now it's part of public park, and as you can see, is used on a daily basis by people cycling and walking, and you too, if you live nearby, should take a walk through here. Now, as you can see, they're trying hard here in Mississauga to keep things in their natural state. It's not really natural because of so many invasive species, but one thing that is really natural and native to our area is the trillium, which I showed you in another lesson. Let's go take a look, because there's tons of them here. And I do hope you get a chance to come and take a look through the woods and take a walk. But if you look, there are trillium everywhere. They occur naturally here. These are part of Ontario's heritage and our official flower. So as you can see, this beautiful flower has 3 petals, 3 leaves, runs underground and spreads and spreads and spreads. So it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. In some places you can actually purchase one. I bought one at the garden center once, but you can't pick them. It is illegal and you can have a hefty fine because we are trying to protect this. If you look closely at this one, you can see it's actually pinkish. Most of them are naturally white. In the last lesson you saw a red one, but you can see this is a bit of a hybrid and it is pink. So that is your trillium. Beautiful, beautiful. Other indigenous species or native species is our sugar maple to this area. If you look around, you'll find lots more. So remember, in this week's challenge, you're to find 3 to 5 native species that are natural here in Canada, that are from this area, that belong here, that did not come over with the Cawthras from England or from Asia as those beetles did in ships. But what we need to do is look for ones that are normal to here. So look around, go out to the park near your house, walk down the street, and if you can't get out, take a look behind me, see what other plants you can see that you might recognize. Do a little research. But whatever you do, folks, go outside.
We are on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We are so incredibly fortunate to enjoy these beautiful woods and to become caretakers of them so that we can look after the land in the same way that the Mississaugas looked after these woods and the lands around it for thousands and thousands of years before us.